Welcome to the lesson about data flow diagrams. In this lesson you will learn what data flow diagrams are and how to draw them. Firstly, to answer the question, what is a data flow diagram? A data flow diagram is a picture or a diagram to show things and data flows in the real world in a logical manner. Secondly, it is used to show how the data flows between entities, processes, or data stores. It is important to remember that the data flow diagram shows us the flow of data, and that is what we're trying to depict. There are four symbols that is used in DFDs. The first one is a process, and the process is shown by using a circle. A process is seen as an action that changes data, and a process will always be named using a verb. The second symbol is data flow, and that is simply just an arrowed line. Data flow is seen as data in motion. Data flow is named using a noun because we want to know what it is that flows from one place to another. The third symbol is called a data store, and that is a rectangle box. And a data store is seen as data at rest. A noun is also used to name data stores. The last symbol in DFDs is called an external entity, and that is just a square, and that is for any department or person that is outside your system that you are diagramming. Data stores are also named by using nouns. So let's look at an example. If we have the situation, a supplier sends us an invoice, the invoice is filed in the accounts payable file, and a check is sent to the supplier as payment. How are we going to put this in a DFD? The vendor is seen as an external entity, and the vendor sends an invoice. So sending something is data flow. The data will be received by a process, and this process at this stage we can call pay and record invoice. So the recording of the invoice in the accounts payable file again is data flow, and the invoice is stored in the accounts payable file. The invoice is also used to generate a check that is sent back to the supplier. This is then the first DFD that we draw from this example. The fact that we actually have two verbs in my process, pay and record, is actually showing me that there is happening something more than just one action. So we might have to apply a process called leveling to this example. When we level diagrams, it's important that the two diagrams must balance. So you must still have exactly the same information as in the previous diagram. So the supplier is still sending us an invoice, but now the invoice, we are just going to record the information first. The payment information on the invoice will be recorded into the accounts payable file. To be able to generate a check later on, we actually need to read from the accounts payable file the payment information, and then we will have a process where we generate or pay the supplier. So a check is generated and the check is sent back to the supplier. In the next lesson, we will look at all the different rules about how data can flow in a system.